What are the things which aspirants usually struggle for? What were you struggling for in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter?
Even though my mentor Anil sir was always 24/7 available, there was no ऐसा कि इसी time पे you call me. He was always available. But so initial quarters में the issues are a lot. कि you're overwhelmed with a lot of content. Personalized feedback on every 20 questions. This question में why got 3? Why got 5? And then I understood, and that's why there was, after like 3-4 months when I was writing tests, consolidate my notes. How do I consolidate my knowledge that I'm gaining? And I would have given a lot of tests. What do I do with this test? How do I revise it? There used to be these smaller tests in the CD's portal. And he said, ki, do not read anything and abhi first give those tests. And then us test ka jo bhi answer aata hai, you marks, you come. Then you would understand ki how much you have retained. You would be the one who would know कि अच्छा इसका ये source से पढ़ लो. This is just one chapter of it, which I would have never encountered. He gave me a lot of online resources which I would have never found out in YouTube, but were extremely gold.
So here's what happened after Animesh got ranked 2 this year. There's a lot of clamor in the market about mentoring chahiye, foundation courses are not making any sense. But people don't have the essence of mentoring. Exactly chahiye kya? Okay? And a lot of people come to us with vague hopes ki या तो मेंटरिंग बस उनको बिल्कुल ही हैंड होल्ड करके सब कुछ बता देगा, बैठे रहेगा, एक मेंटर वाज ऑन गोइंग टू बी ऑन अ बैक एंड कॉल विद द पर्सन एवरी डे ऑफ द वीक. नहीं. या फिर लॉट ऑफ प्लेसेस आई सी इट्स जस्ट अबाउट डाउट क्लियरेंस, क्वेरी सोल्यूशन. दैट्स द फैग एंड ऑफ इट. नहीं. We've always talked about mentoring is a step-by-step process of building up your rhythm with this examination. We call it that we are like your GPS navigator. But today, because I have Animesh with me, I'll ask with him ki what are the problems which an aspirant grapples with, because वही सब चीजें हम UAP की mentoring में resolve करते हैं. So what we'll do is we'll divide the whole journey of an aspirant in like quarters. The first quarter, the second quarter, the fourth and the fifth, third, fourth, fifth, right? The last quarter is that between prelims and mains, for which we have a smash mains ka sprint, where this year Animesh will be taking hands-on classes. He'll be taking hands-on post-test discussions. He'll be taking hands-on value enrichment sessions to give you that X factor. But in this video, let's understand what happens if you're going to give the exam in 2025. What are the things which aspirants usually struggle for? What were you struggling for in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter?
So I think the need of mentorship, what do you expect from mentors keep on changing from one quarter to other. But I think again, like the premise of the entire mentorship should be कि a mentor should be somebody who should not spoon feed you in everything. And a good mentorship program is the one where your dependence on your mentor decreases over the months. And that's happened with me also. If you check my con logs, if you check my, even though my mentor Anil sir was always 24/7 available, there was no ऐसा कि इसी time पे you call me. He was always available, but my need of talking to him or calling him gradually decreased, and as in he ensured he made it me that way. But so initial quarters mein the issues are a lot. You're overwhelmed with a lot of content. I mean, you do not know even ki acha Lakshmikant first chapter is itself so boring. It's a trivial question. How do I tackle with Lakshmikant? Spectrum is a lot of material. How do I deal with that? And things like, do I study 2 subjects at one go or one subject after? Things like that are also issues which seems very trivial now, but at that time those made a lot of doubts. Second, how do I revise? Because I'm studying a lot of things, I can't recall what I studied last week. What are the effective ways I can do that? So revision was something which I was always perplexed about. The third is, even after I'm doing something and giving a test, I was not able to evaluate my test. Even for a prelims test I was giving, for example, I was giving a 200 marker test where I was scoring 100. How do I know that if this 100 should have been 150, or whether 80 was a good score but I scored 100 so I scored really well? Because usually when you're attempting MCQs, you do not have somebody to compare to. Then the mentor came and used to tell me ki, what is a good score and where you're doing a mistake. So you get somebody who is deeply invested in you and could give you a very impartial judgment as well. There in test evaluation, he came into picture. In answer writing, I felt that answer writing does not require, everybody knows it's introduction, body, conclusion. I mean, it's not rocket science. You do not need a separate course to know how to write answers. But how do I know ki when I'm getting a feedback ki your answer, if I'm getting a 3 out of 10 and sometime I'm getting 5 out of 10, I am not able to understand why did I get a 3 and why did I get a 5. So mentor comes and tells me what was the reason why there was a difference of 2 marks. What I could have added so that I could have gotten that 5 or 6 in that particular question. When there's a lot of the feedbacks, I see a lot of people tell ki coaching institutes give a very generic feedbacks in their evaluations. I understand because of the number of volumes they would be interacting, that could be there. But for me, I was getting a personalized feedback on every 20 questions, at least for the initial test that I was asking. So every test I was getting feedback, acha, is question mein why got 3, why got 5. And then I understood, and that's why there was, after like 3-4 months when I was writing tests, I understood it why I got a 3 in a question, what I got with a 5. And over the years, that understanding got refined, but the mentor was always there to navigate me through all these doubts and anxiety.
So the first quarter, it's like there's a content overload. Even the simpler things overwhelm you. So you need someone who can make sense of what to read, notes banane ki nahi banane ya kya karna hai. Second, this is a process that we have in the system that after you cover even a small chunk of content, we give you tests, basic and advanced, prelims wise, to see ki padha hai ki nahi padha. It's important to anchor your marks because otherwise, like he said, who knows, 100 is good or 120 should have been your target. Third, simple answer writing. I think Animesh was one of the few guys who started writing answer from the very first week when he joined UAP. Samachar Manthan is the current affairs program, which is a part of UAP. And he started writing answers from the week 1. So it's important to know kis pe 3 mile, kis pe 5 mile, kis pe 6 mile. So this is your first quarter. And you kind of get your footing in some way, right? So I'm assuming first quarter NCRTs would be then basic reading of reference books are done. Current affairs newspaper to chal hi raha hai. And you have some sense of what marks mean, what a good attempt is, what an answer for UPSC mean like. What happens in the second quarter of preparation?
So the second half is one, you would, as in then also comes the time when you would be burnt out. The initial interest of going through a new subject matter also dwindles. So you get that self-doubt, all those things also come. And then also the mentor is there to tell you that these things are okay and you will get through this. So that's also an personalized support that you get from a mentor, which I got. And the second one is that to figure out all the content that you are getting. And over the months, it gets an accumulating one over the other. How do I make it consolidate my notes? How do I consolidate my knowledge that I'm gaining? And I would have given a lot of tests. What do I do with this test? How do I revise it? How do I pick up the material so that I could be able to make them reflect in my final answers? So the knowledge that you get, how do you preserve that in a way so that you'll be able to reproduce that after, let's say, 8 months or 9 months of giving your exams? That becomes important. How to enhance your revision skills. And third, how to keep your motivation high. And fourth, also now after 3 months, 4 months, we'll delve into more trickier parts of the, I'm assuming a lot of people do not start with history. I started history after 4 months, let's say, and then it becomes tougher to navigate through that as well. So again, a lot of things get continued from after 3 months, but you are also challenged by new queries and new ideas to deal with.
I remember Anandi mentioned that it was around the second quarter when Animesh really opened up about the problems which plagued him back then, personal and also UPSC preparation wise. So we see that the second quarter is when you open up with your mentor. If it happens sooner, it's all the more better because then, you kind of have the receptibility towards what your mentor is saying. But it's okay if it takes like 3 months or so. The important point in this juncture would be that, you're able to assimilate all the complex notes and all those value-added material that you get beyond the basic book. Okay? Because you have to replicate that 8 months down the line or whatever, 7 months down the line. I think then comes a time when you're probably getting into the prelims mindset. Right? And what happens then? Do you recall prelims mindset? I think cleared prelims by a smaller margin, right?
I had a 10 mark, but the feels very small. But I think 75 became because of CSET was difficult. But I put 86 point something. So I took the margin. But again, I think us time pe when you are just out of all the note making mains and you have to switch to that prelims. And then how do you do that? Abhi kya karu main? I have read everything. How do I make the most out of these 4 months just before prelims? So understand, I remember Randhir sir told me that there used to be these smaller tests in the CD's portal and he said कि do not read anything and अभी first give those tests and then उस test का जो भी answer आता है, you marks you come, then you would understand कि how much you have retained over 8 months. जब आपने छोड़ दिया तो सब कुछ polity छोड़ दिया था, and after 8 months, like after 6 months you are attempting, how much you're scoring, and then read उस हिसाब से, and then give another post test. So I had a pre-test and post-test score for every subject that I took here, and then I was able to understand कि कौन सा subject is actually strong, कौन सा wrong. So initially I thought कि polity is my strong subject because I liked it, but the difference between my pre and post was not very significant. So I felt कि I'm probably not giving a lot of attention the nuances of the polity properly. So that was a wonderful idea that I was able to get because I had a mentor. Otherwise, I would have again picked up Lakshmikant and started revising it. And I would have given probably equal importance to everything and not have bridged the gap between my weaknesses and strengths. So somebody would have been in the shoes of an aspirant and then would be able to tell you that nuances of it that will not get anywhere because these are very intrinsic and very personalized. This is where I think in this phase you get this very small but profound tips and tricks.
And keep getting deep, denser and denser.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
And then you need someone where you can park out your worries.
Exactly. And then it also then boils down कि अच्छा I'm not able to understand the I'm okay with history, but history का ये वाला part नहीं हो रहा है. Then he would be the one who would know कि अच्छा इसका ये source से पढ़ लो. This is just one chapter of it, which I would have never encountered. He gave me a lot of online resources which I would have never found out in YouTube, but were extremely gold. So things like that. कि उस time it's very very small nuances कि accuracy नहीं बढ़ रही. How do I improve my accuracy? I remember CSAT के time पे I was very thorough with my CSAT. I was scoring good in CSAT PYQs को लेके, but I gave a couple of mock tests and I was scoring in 80s. That give a reality check to he helped me how do I tackle अगर exam में बहुत difficult question आता है. And आया भी, and I'm so thankful I used that strategy because of which I qualified CSAT. I attempted only 37 questions and
In CSAT?
Yes, and I must have some insane accuracy. But I was able to do that because of those tips and tricks and mentorship I got during the last phase of 3 months.
Okay, awesome. Great. I mean, there's something that we didn't even discuss like when we said things keep coming up. So the idea of making this video for everyone is that even if let's say you're not there to join us, try to make sure that your quarters go like this. At CD, what we do, we take these quarter key macro themes because we know this is what aspirant goes through in different phases of life. And we then condense this to month and then to weekly level, right? And then it becomes very micro target oriented intervention. But आप जिधर भी पढ़े हो, जहाँ भी पढ़े हो, make sure that don't just look at this 1 year कि अभी बहुत time है कर लेंगे, नहीं. Make sure you have a quarter strategy, and if you kind of, if this makes sense to you, if your fears and your worries are similar to what Animesh just narrated back in his days, then make your strategies similar to his. Make sure whoever you are studying under or studying with has similar bent of mind. He's able to tackle these queries and give you a solution which you can work upon and you can see an impact week over week. If not, come talk to us and we'll try to sit with you and figure out personality क्या है तुम्हारी, are you working or not, full-time aspirant हो कि नहीं हो, college के साथ पढ़े हो कि नहीं हो, and we'll tell you, okay, 2025 is a realistic attempt, provided you start on this velocity, or provided you have this acceleration and you catch up on this level. This is it. This is how mentoring should be for civil services, especially for people who do not need a foundation course. If you are someone who can cover your basics books by yourself, YouTube में इधर उधर कुछ जुगाड़ करके मोटा syllabus you can cover, make sure you come and talk to us about mentoring because you do need that edge to score in this exam because everyone is now performing at this level. Everyone is now asking the hard question from their mentor and they're fighting for every one single mark. That's the level of the competition in 2025 and beyond. If your mentors, your teachers are still giving you fundas of 5 years ago या 4 साल पहले, won't work. Exam शायद वही है, लेकिन preparation level next level पे reach कर रहा है. So come talk to us as soon as your prelims are done. If you're a 2025 aspirant, talk to us right now because these are your early days of preparation. 2026 की जनता हो, आराम से रहो, कोई बात करने की जरूरत नहीं है, चिल मारो, अखबार ढंग से पढ़ो, बिल्कुल भी प्रॉब्लम नहीं आएगी. Talk to us when you feel like you have dedicated time दे सकते हैं.